Well, I don't know the book of Nehemiah super well in the sense that I've never preached through it verse by verse and studied all of the verses in it. But my favorite verse in Nehemiah is one that was pointed out to me years ago. And it's Nehemiah chapter 4, verses 7 through 9. It's actually 9 is the verse that's my favorite, but I'm going to read verses 7 through 9. Nehemiah 4, starting in verse 7, says, "When Sanballat, Tobiah, and the Arabs, Ammonites, and Ashdodites heard that the repair to the walls of Jerusalem was progressing, and that the gaps were being closed, they became furious. They all plotted together to come and fight against Jerusalem and to throw it into confusion. So we prayed to our God and stationed a guard because of them day and night." So let me explain the situation. The Israelites are trying to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. They're trying to rebuild their nation. They're trying to set it up so they're able to protect themselves. And so they're building these walls that used to be there and they were in ruins, and now they're starting back up again. And the bad guys hear about it. And the bad guys are upset and they're going to come and get them. The bad guys are named Sanballat, Tobiah, the Arabs, the Ammonites, the Ashdodites. So the bad guys are coming. And they hear that the bad guys have plotted together to come and fight against Jerusalem. So the Israelites react in two ways. And verse 9 says, when the plot came for those people to come and fight, the Israelites did two things. It says in verse 9, "So we prayed to our God and stationed a guard because of them day and night." We did two things. We prayed to our God and stationed a guard. In other words, we called out to God because He's our protector. He's the one that we're hoping will deliver us from the bad guys. He's the one that we hope is looking out for us. He's the one that we believe intervenes and cares about His people and protects. So we're going to pray to Him and ask Him to protect us. And we are going to post a soldier at the lookout so that we can be ready, that if somebody comes to attack us, we're ready to fight. In other words, they called out to God and were trying to do something where they were taking personal responsibility for their situation. You can imagine how Bible characters could have chosen to do one of those things or the other, couldn't you? There could have been where they said, hey, the bad guys were coming, so we prayed to God. There's nothing that we can do. God is the one that He'll either protect us or He won't. And so we just prayed to God and whatever happens, happens. Or you could imagine that they would say, hey, the bad guys were coming, so we posted a guard, right? We stationed a guy at the lookout because we need to protect ourselves and we need to take responsibility for ourselves. But they didn't do either or. They did both. They prayed to their God because He's the protector, and they stationed a guard so that they would take the actions they knew how to take to be as responsible as they could to be able to fight off bad guys. And I think this principle that's found in verse 9, that let's do both of these things at the same time, I think it applies to us in our day. When you're in a situation where you think bad things are coming, they're on the horizon, what do? I would say pray and station a guard. In other words, believe that there's a God who cares about you, and that when you talk to Him, He actually listens, and He actually does heal, and He actually does protect, and He actually does intervene. And we are not to live this life as if we are in it all alone. We're not to live this life as if there is no God or that He doesn't care. We're not supposed to go, oh, here's a situation, and nobody's up there to help me. I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to handle this by myself. No, we've got to pray to God. On the other hand, we don't want to just be someone who says, well, I just prayed to God. There's nothing else I'm going to do. There's this bad thing that's happening. I'm not going to try to fix it. I'm not going to try to prevent it. I'm just going to sit here and pray to God and not take any responsibility for trying to fix the problem. No, we can do both. We can pray to God believing He is our protector, believing He is our provider, believing He is the one who is there and cares about us and intervenes in this world. And we can say, I want to take responsible measures. I want to do the good that I know to do, to take responsibility for my own life. And you can do both of those at the same time. That's what they did, and that's what I think we should do.